The Iron Game Chalk Talk podcast is brought to you by the following sponsors: EliteForm.com, IgnitionAPG.com, PlayUSA at PLAEUSA.com, and Sorinex Exercise Equipment at Sorinex.com. And now, the Iron Game Chalk Talk podcast. Welcome to Iron Game Chalk Talk with your host, Ron McKeefery.
Every time our athletes walk into this weight room, they're going to be pushed to the max.
Let's go! Everything you got!
On this podcast, hear Coach McKeefery straight talk about training, featuring the top strength and conditioning professionals from around the world. And now, here's your host, Ron McKeefery.
Hey guys, welcome back to Iron Game Chalk Talk. I'm your host, Ron McKeefery, and this episode number 163. Excited to bring a buddy of mine on the show today, Robert Linkul. He owns Be Stronger Fitness out in Sacramento, and I've gotten to know Robert through the years. Just a fantastic person. Got to know him through the NSCA and all his involvement there, and really just a guy that's modeling one of the things that I talk about quite a bit, where you be the change you want to see in the world, and so when it comes to strength and conditioning, when it comes to fitness, that's exactly what he does. He goes out and he makes sure that he's involved so that he has a voice, not just for himself, but for those that he surrounds himself with in this profession. And much like me, he feels like this profession has given so much to him that he feels obligated to give back. And we get into his story. I mean, he's battled injuries and has overcome that and used that as a message with his clients, with his athletes. We talk about personal training business and just how he's been able to build a real solid family-based business. You can see his kids and his wife completely involved and with what they got going on and just the environment and the community that he's built there. And we talk a lot about NSCA involvement and how we can all be more involved and find our voice within the organization, and remembering that it is a member-driven organization and that we need to be involved. So real excited about this episode. I think you're going to get a ton out of it. Before we do, though, we want to recognize our sponsor, Ignition. Ignition, mind, body, spirit. They do it the right way. They have lots of different facets to their company. They're a training company. They're a supplement company. They're a products company. And they kill a certification company. They kill it in all those areas. And so it's fun to see and follow them on Facebook at Ignition APG, on Twitter as well, and just see kind of each day it's almost a different day completely. Whether it be draft prospect training and and combine prep, or they're starting to get all their vets back now in town, and and training with them here during the break in the NFL strength and conditioning year annual plan. They're working on shooting new videos for all their library for their certification and things like that. And so just really cool to watch from afar all the things that they have going on and are doing to give back, as well as do it the right way with their athletes and the people that they interact with. So make sure to follow them on Facebook. Check them out at IgnitionAPG.com. Just stay up with what they got going on, and from time to time reach out and just tell them how much you appreciate them being a part of the show. So want to get to this episode with Robert. Know you're going to get a ton out of it. Sit back and enjoy, and we'll see you on the other side. All right, guys, excited to have a buddy of mine with us today, Robert Linkul. He's the 2012 Personal Trainer of the Year, Southwest Regional Coordinator. He's got like a list a mile long of acronyms and whatnot credentials after his name. But an overall, just a great human being, just a great guy, and contributed in a big way. So, man, I appreciate you coming on the show, brother.
Yeah, my pleasure. Thank you for having me.
Robert, kind of go just Reader's Digest version, because you've done it all, right? Reader's Digest version, kind of how you got into strength and conditioning, personal training, and kind of what's led you to open your own studio and be as active as you are in NSCA and the whole deal.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, my whole journey kind of started as a younger kid. I was really into fitness, but I took to track and field. I was really big into discus throwing, hammer throwing. Eventually earned a scholarship to go to Sacramento State here in Sacramento. And while I was there, I wanted to become kind of the typical like PE coach that coached football and track on the side, and just worked the strength and conditioning classes through the day. And when I got to school, my second year, they send you out. You get to start student teaching, and it just did not click with me. I was not liking it at all. I found a really hard time connecting to the kids at any age. We went to first grade all the way up to high school, and I just couldn't connect with them. I had a really hard time. They didn't want to be there. A lot of them didn't like it. And going through my 5 years of school, we had multiple opportunities to do that. I was a partial scholarship athlete, so I still had to work on the side. So I became a personal trainer just to make some extra money, and struggling with my degree, trying to find out where I wanted to go with this. Do I want to become just a strength coach, an Olympic lifting coach? Do I want to work at a college? Do I want to work at high school? While struggling with this and just kind of changing my degree to just general kinesiology because I didn't know what to do, I slowly started building this personal training clientele on the side that became pretty big. Like it became for a part-time, student trainer athlete that was, I was working maybe 12 or 15 hours a week. I had like 35 clients, and we were training like a little semi-private model, 2 or 3 people at a time. And it really started to take off. And so I just had this epiphany in 2008. Was starting my master's degree, didn't really know what I wanted to do, but had this moment. I was training this pretty average human being physically, who wanted to try to climb all 7 summits of the earth. And, his last attempt would be on Mount Everest. So for 4 years we trained. He got all of them going up to Mount Everest, failed his first year. I went and climbed Mount Rainier in the meantime to figure out what it was like to be in his shoes. Came back, built him a even better program, and he made it the next year. And he came into my office and he goes, if you can take somebody that has, underdeveloped or basically just like normal athletic and human abilities and get them to accomplish something great, this is the right profession for you. And that really kind of hit home with me. If I can help, everyday people, if we want to call them that, general health and fitness enthusiasts, achieve something awesome. It doesn't have to be climbing the highest mountain on earth, but if I could just help them achieve something awesome, why would I not want to do that? And there's so many of them that I could work with, So I just said, this is my direction. I'm going. Got into a master's degree with the United States Sports Academy, got my master's degree in personal training and sports science, and off we went. I was a fitness director at a country club for 10 years, and then 2 years ago, decided to take that jump, went out on my own, subleased a space for a little bit, for about a year and a half, and then like 3 months ago, we opened Be Stronger Fitness. It's a personal training studio, myself and 2 other trainers. We have about 85 clients, 90 clients, somewhere right around there, and collectively we do about 150, 160 sessions a week.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
That's awesome, man. Well, and obviously you've became personal trainer of the year, and you're speaking all over the country. I think one thing that really stood out to me about you and your journey is the fact that, so many personal trainers, strength coaches, performance specialists, they stay in their box, they stay in their facility, they don't get out. Maybe they go to one conference a year, and that's the extent of their networking. You didn't do that. I mean, obviously you networked like crazy. You got out there. You were transparent with your journey. You put information out there, and I would think that at times you're like, why would anybody want to listen to this or read this or whatever? And talk about a little bit about the process of, putting yourself out there, going and speaking, doing things like that, and how that's had an impact on your career. Yeah,
and it all started in really the first opportunity for me with that was in 2008. I had taken 2 years off of throwing, had an agreement with Reebok to come back and try for another Olympic team. And so at the start of the year in 2008, my very first workout was, a 550-pound back squatter, was warming up with 225, went down in a squat and felt my disc rupture in my back. And we were in a brand new gym. I was the first person ever to squat in this rack, brand new, plates, everything new. So I didn't want to dump the bar, so I forced myself up out of this squat, racked the bar, I'm on the ground. My wife was managing the gym at the time, so we got in there 2 hours before the gym opened. So for 2 hours, I'm laying there on the ground waiting for somebody to find me. And I had surgery, went through this whole rehab for 4 months and used climbing Rainier as my goal to get myself physically fit to get back into this, bless you. So at that point, I wrote, I think it was published in Outside Magazine or one of these ones. My client actually sent it in. I did a little journal of my experience going through this and climbing the mountain and all that and my back injuries. And I had some really great responses from my clients. We published it in the Arden Hills, the country club I worked at, in their magazine. All the members saw about it and they read about it. And it was amazing to me how many people could relate to the fact with the back injury and having a goal and trying to strive through that. So little did I know this was kind of the start of a whole slew of health issues that came up. In 2009, I got diagnosed with lung cancer. I ended up having my left lung removed. It was I've never smoked a day in my life. It was just a tumor in my lung.
Right.
And on a routine checkup the next year, found that I had thyroid cancer, so I had that removed. Another surgery there. And I had a couple of really good years. 2013, had an arthroscopy on my right hip, 14 left hip, and then now this year I just had a hip replacement 10 days ago. So I've was joking with Coach, showing him my cane and my walker here a few minutes ago, all my good stuff. But I found that just the more I share with people, I think, especially as a personal trainer, people see us, generally speaking, as like the magazine cover. We're the six-pack abs, and we never have a cheat day, and we're broccoli and chicken, and we're perfect all the time. And when you can, show somebody how real you are and how, being transparent, as you said, let them know that I'm just like you. I have struggles. I have physical issues. I feel like, number one, it helped with my business a lot because people could connect with me.
Right.
They've seen a lot of the issues that I've gone through. And, my clientele, if you would have asked me 5 years ago, what's the average age of your clientele going to be? And you said 60, I'd tell you no way. But those are all the people I'm working with now.
Right.
Bad backs, bad hips, they've had cancer, they're going through it, or something's coming up. So it actually helped me become a better coach. It helped me find an area of expertise or demographic to work with. Sometimes, people can look at that and be like, look at this, terrible trail of stuff this person's had to go through. It's helped kind of mold me into the person that I am today. So though, some struggles, I do look at it as a blessing with a lot of the things I've gone through. And it's a lot of information I can share with people. And I figured, why not do this in the profession that we're in now, with the NSCA. All my coaching, all my consulting, everything I do with any trainers, any coaches looking to get better is totally free. I've never charged a penny for any of that. And it's just something that I love to do. I want to help people get better at what they're doing. One-on-one trainers, independent contractors, all the way up through, bigger businesses, clubs, and whatnot. I really like working with, especially the entry-level trainer. Feel like getting a hold of people young in their career. We can set some grassroots professional standards for them to live by. Since we don't have a governing body, kind of have something for them to live by, some rules for them to help them hold themselves to this high standard. And if they can get that at the grassroots level right when they come in, it'll just carry through their career. And continued education is a huge part of that. Networking and sharing is a huge part of that. We have to give back to this industry to make it better. And it only brings us closer to great people like yourself and Gary Schofield, Mike Martino, Rick Howard, Mark Nutting, just all these great people who have mentored me, inspired me, have taught me. I probably go to 5 or 6 conferences a year. I probably speak at 5 or 6 as well, and have had opportunities to go to Iceland and Ireland and Canada, and I've gone some pretty great places just because I'm sharing my information and trying to help other people get better. So, it's been a great experience, a great journey. I encourage people to find me on Facebook. I have all kinds of rants on there about what my hip's doing this day, and then you'll see, 2-3 days later, what I learned from that experience. And I'm doing a little blog on there for my clients and how to keep their hips healthy. So it all kind of comes full circle.
Yeah, that's great. There's lots of things to pull out of that too. Obviously there's no such thing as an overnight success. You don't reach success by trying to attain it as necessarily. I think it's when it's a byproduct of hard work or compassion or heart or whatever you want to say there. It's a byproduct of that. And so by giving back, by just having a genuine heart and a willingness to give back, it's led to success for you. And it's I think that's typical of pretty much anybody that does those types of things. I think the other thing is that when you didn't you had kind of a traditional thought of what your career was going to look like, mm-hmm. and you allowed yourself to listen to what the market was kind of telling you. and find a niche, and they talk about a subject matter expert being just somebody that's smarter than the other people in the room about a specific topic.
Right.
You've become a subject matter expert on having dealt with some of these adverse situations in your life, and then turn around and been able to find a way to help somebody else, but also monetize that as well. And so that's a fantastic thing. And then lastly, I think, I think as coaches in such an ego-driven profession, we have to humanize ourselves. So many times
Absolutely.
it's just, you want to stand up there, this bravado that's, look at me and I'm the baddest, biggest person in the room. But the reality is that your athletes, your clients, your people that you work with, they're going to respond more to the human being that's standing up there any day of the week. And so, obviously you've done that throughout your entire career. What's maybe, that's the end product, right? There's been lots of steps and journey and pivots and stuff around along the way. What's been maybe the biggest mistake that you've made and kind of how you learned from it?
Oh boy. The important part is what you said at the end there, is learning from it, because I made a lot of mistakes. There have been a lot of times where the ego gets in the way, and it's, you get to a point where you think that you're bigger than you are,
right,
or you're more successful than you are. So I can remember 3 very distinct times in my career. I'm a tracker. I track everything. Sessions of the day, group sessions, one-on-one sessions, monthly, quarterly, annually, all the way back to 2004. I've got numbers on everything. And I can find these 3 points in my career where I said, I've made it. This is it. I can pull back a little bit. I can lay off a little bit, and I'm going to work on, whatever the other thing was, a side business or another success. And as soon as I put out that energy, as soon as I put out the idea of I'm just going to maintain my clientele, be happy, and I can go do something else, immediately it seemed like clients stopped. Rebudgeting, we're going to have to drop this out, or the kids go back to college, and all of a sudden there's 6 or 8 kids that are all gone now that I'm not working with. Through the summertime, it was like they could sense that I wasn't putting in this effort that I was supposed to be doing. And those 3 times have all been for distinct different reasons, different areas, different avenues that I had that I was going to try to pursue. And the bottom line from that is if this is the profession that I'm choosing and the passion that I'm going with and the thing that I love the most, then I need to continue that path with every little bit of energy and love and passion and drive that I have. Because I wear everything out on my sleeve like this, anytime that I back off or I start to taper away, people know it right away. So it's a double-edged sword when you are that open with people, but they really see the difference. And the last time that I did this, it was, I wanted to become a professional speaker. I was just going to go and speak all over the world, and eventually would step away from training. And I got some really great gigs. I had a lot of good opportunities. Within 3 months, I spoke 12 times. I went to 6 different states and 3 different countries, and things were going really good. And, you don't get paid a ton to go be a speaker, for a lot of these opportunities. So yes, I was going out and experiencing some of these things and starting something, but at the same time, my clients are like, you're gone all the time, and we don't like working with substitutes all the time, and you're not going to learn, you're going to speak. If I go to 3 or 4 conferences a year and they know I'm going there to learn, they're cool with it because I'm bringing them back stuff. But if I'm going to speak, it's a different story,
Right.
So it really got me to ground myself and be like, look, pick the ones you really want to go to, speak a couple times a year, really be able to hone in on some really good content to hand out. Lauren Landau was a really great example for me. He's like, I do 2 or 3 talks a year. I can give them out as people want them and wherever they want to do them at, but I make sure they're just damn good rather than having a whole bunch of ones that are iffy just because you're trying to get out there and talk, So
Right.
I've had a lot of opportunities like that to reflect and be like, boy, what a mistake, but you got to learn from it as you step away. If you don't, then you're repeating the same stuff. Same thing's going to happen.
No question. Well, there's lots of different people that listen to these episodes. There's the strength coaches, there's the performance specialists, there's the personal trainers. What advice? At some point, everybody's either been a personal trainer, maybe on the way up, maybe on the way down, maybe that's what they've chosen to do. Give us a snapshot of what a successful personal training business should look like. If you were to get out, maybe you're in between jobs, maybe this is what you're deciding to do. You're a college senior and you're wanting to go into the personal training route. Like, what's the format? What's the best way to set it up?
All right. It's a great question. And this is me. This is just my honest answer, and a lot of people don't agree with this because I'm a standards guy. I really want to have people set standards for themselves moving forward. And so the professional standard idea of get a certification that's accredited, do your continued education hours, make sure you're getting at least the minimum of those. Pursue a secondary certification or a secondary education that's developed in an area of expertise. So I'm a NSCA-CPT with a tactical background. I work with a lot of tactical clients, so I go get my TSAC as my secondary one, for example. And then, earn your professional liability insurance and conduct yourself like a pro. Do all your paperworks. Make sure you have liability forms on everyone. You do the assessments. You take them through all the screening, learn about their goals, learn about their health histories. A lot of that I just said, some people are like, oh yeah, that's normal. A lot of trainers don't. They don't do paperwork. A client wants to come in, they throw them into a workout right away. They have them sign a liability form, and that's it. So acting like, presenting yourself like, and conducting your profession like a professional is going to pay off so much more in the long run. If anything, comes up legality-wise, you're totally covered on all this. You've done all the great steps. But as far as a consumer looks at this, I don't want the doctor that just barely made it. I want the one that's, he's the guy, he went out and got this specialty, she's recognized in this, and she won this award. And, I went out and met a couple different doctors before I did my hip. And I found the one that's worked with my age group before, that's had great success rates, a low infection rate. She's recognized nationally, and I'm like, that's the one I want. So when we look at someone that's going to take our bodies, and they're going to take our body and put it into programming 2, 3, 4 days a week. I have some clients that come every day, and I have clients that come at least twice a week. So at least twice a week. A doctor, most people see, unless you're me, they see your doctor once or twice a year. I see him like every week. Your dentist maybe twice a year, physical therapist once, twice a month. I mean, we see people so often, and yet we're the ones that are not governed or tracked or have any standards for us whatsoever, and we're the ones that could really mess people up and hurt them. Right. And I think we are the ones that need to, since we don't have it, we need to hold ourselves to these high standards, because you will rise. The cream of the crop, it will rise. Everything will come up, and when you're in a community of people that are, tight niched, the word gets out about you. Great trainer, bad trainer. And when all these repetitions, all these continued people are all recommending the same name, and it's yours, business will boom. I'm 99.5% referral-based business. The little bit of marketing we do is just me marketing stuff on Facebook. Right. So we're all referral. And so I really encourage people, I know this is a long answer, but I really encourage people to hold yourself to this high professional standard. People will know it when they're in your facility, they'll know it when they're with you, and they'll know it from the outside. When people come in and you have your certification on the wall, your education on the wall, your insurance on the wall, your facility's been maintenance and that checklist is off, and you've had your fire code, and like all that stuff. You're real. You're a real professional. Right. You're not somebody working this in their garage, and doing it on the side. A part-time effort gives you a part-time result. A full-time, die-hard, committed effort will give you a full-time, die-hard, lucrative career. And that's the kind of message I want to get across to people, that this profession is strictly based on your effort. The harder you work and the more effort you put in developing you, because you're your product, right, to developing you, that will all come full circle and will pay off with very good clientele. I've got 25 clients that are in double digits with me right now. They've been with me since 2004 to 2006, all the way till now. Wow. So it's a long time to hold a client. The average personal training client in our industry stays 6 months. Yeah. Our facility's 3.5 years on average. Wow. So, we get a lot of clients that come in and they're just like, this is it. I call them lifers. People that are Tuesday, Thursday at 7, they're in there for the rest of their life. Like they're in, that's what you want. You want a whole book of those. And right. I think people respect, when you respect yourself as a pro, they respect you as well.
Right. Kind of off topic, I see your Facebook post and I see the type, just to that point, and seeing the type of interaction you have with your people. I mean, not everybody is buying a piece of equipment for their facility, for the facility. Not everybody's right. giving you balloons and throwing a big party for you when you come back in. Right. You've really created a culture and an environment there of a kind of a family type of unit. Absolutely. How have you been able to do that with your clients, where it's more than just Yeah, I mean, there's a transaction that takes place, but it's more than a transaction.
Right. Well, I kind of look at that as I don't want to. I mean, I hate to say it like extended family, but they really are. They are people that mean more to me than just their transaction. I'm selective with who I work with. I don't work with every person that walks through the door, and I want to be able to connect with this person. I want to feel like we have a good ability to work together. And majority of the times I can get along with people, but there have been clients that I've fired that I basically said, this isn't working out. I want to refer you out to somebody else.
Right.
And when you start to develop a connection with these clients, they start to trust you, and they start to value your opinion, and you start to value theirs, and you start to learn about their family and their kids and their spouses and their events. And I recognize all that, and we see it all. And when one of my clients has a birthday, we draw balloons on the board and we put their name up, and we just recognize it. They turn 35, so we'll do 35 reps of something in a workout just to recognize their birthday. They go to the hospital, we go and visit them. We have, when I had my lung cancer, I woke up to a whole floor in the hospital of individuals coming in, doctors, nurses, everybody thanking me for dinner. And I'm like, what are you talking about? And I got a note from one of my clients, and he said, I bought the whole floor of the hospital pizza, and told him it came out of your pocketbook. So get ready to shake some hands. And he had bought 35 pizzas and fed the entire floor.
Wow.
And I was asleep when he came in to visit, and I missed that. But I mean, that kind of, when I saw that connection, I'm like, man, I had probably 30 or 40 clients come see me in the hospital. I was in there for almost 2 months. And if I'm making a connection with people like that, where they're going to drive a half hour out of their way to come and see me, then I need to give that back to them.
Right.
So we really connect with people. We do a lot of community events, charity events. Every quarter we have some kind of community group workout. We'll do fundraisers where they'll bring in a bag of clothes to donate to Goodwill, and they get to do the workout. We do like a couples workout on Valentine's Day, where the spouses will come in and work out together, or any couple will come in. We do a drive for food links, so people bring in canned food. We do a Hanukkah workout, a Christmas workout. We do. I mean, we have all kinds of little gimmicky workouts that we do, but we invite everybody. You can come in, bring a family member, or they're home for the holidays. They come in. All those types of outreaches. I think people really appreciate that. And in our case, we've seen over 12 or 13 years here in this area that clients that'll have their brother or sister in town for Christmas, they'll come and do that workout. Well, 3-4 years later, they move home, and now we got their new client. They loved it so much, they're like, yeah, we're going to come in. So it's all a big circle. It all kind of comes back to us, and the more that we put out and we give to these people, the more they respect us, and the more they give back to our business. And it's a blessing to have such great people in our lives. I couldn't be happier with the people I train. Yeah.
Yeah, I think it's such an important aspect. Whether or not you're a coach or you have clients or whatever, you have to have that kind of a bond with the people that you work with. It's the bottom line. Yeah. You're very involved with the NSCA. You run the Southwest. You're the Southwest Regional Coordinator. You run the Southwest Regional Clinic. I think you do a state clinic too, don't you?
We have as a regional coordinator, oversee Nevada, Hawaii, and both North and South California. So we run 4 state clinics a year. And then our regional is the one that I run every year.
Right. And so, this is one of the things, it's one of my big pet peeves, and I'm sure yours as well, where, it's a membership-driven organization, and so when there's people that are complaining about who's speaking or what's being put out in the journals or who's, where the conference is or whatever, it's like you have as much say in that as anybody that's making that decision.
Yeah. I'm a member too.
Yeah, and so, I think that what would you say, what's the best way for somebody that's not involved right now to get involved in a grassroots level and then turn around and find their niche, kind of like you have, of being more involved in the NSCA?
Well, there's a couple ways. As a state director, I started as the Northern California state director and then went up to the regional coordinator position, but I was the thorn in my state director's side, because we get an email 2 or 3 a week that says, "Hey, I want to get more involved," and then we never hear from that person again.
Right.
So Andy Bloom, he was an all-American shot putter, discus thrower, and an Olympic shot and discus thrower. He was our state director here, and like every other week, I'd email him, "What do you need? Do you need any help with anything? What can I do for you?" And he never actually had me do anything. I just continually bothered him.
Right.
And every year when the state clinic came up, I was the first person that got an email that said, hey, I wanted you to know, we're doing this thing next week. We'd love to have you there. So I had 2 years just kind of working with him a little bit on the side, just learning how to run an event, how to run a clinic. It was very informal. He just talked to me a little bit when we were there. And that really got next year. I took his spot as state director. I had made enough contact with headquarters where they knew I wanted the job, so they called me, again, just emailing, saying anything I can do to get involved. At the time, the special interest groups didn't really exist. So now the special interest groups, what we call SIGs, are pretty present in the NSCA. There's, I think, 16 or 18 of them now. Right. Personal trainer, college coach, high school coach, ice skating, track and field, wrestling. I mean, there's a whole bunch. And the special interest group is really our way to get connected and network with other professionals that are doing the same sport or working with the same demographic or the same profession that others are. So every year at the national conference, all the SIGs meet. They all have private meetings. That's open to anybody, so you're always welcome to go there. I'm the chairman for the personal trainers special interest group, and so you can contact the chairmans of any of those and say, are there any positions aboard the committees? There's seven positions on each committee to get involved and help there. We do newsletters, emails. We help select some of the speakers for the conference every year. Personal trainer SIGs, we pick. We are given by headquarters 4 or 5 finalists for the personal trainer of the year every year, and we collectively go through and vote. So we have a lot of interest and a lot of involvement with the NSCA at this volunteer level. But it takes a while to kind of get up to the point where you have some really good involvement. It's just like building a resume and looking at this. What have you done for the NSCA to get up to this point? And then continued involvement, the personal trainer quarterly, the coaches quarterly, the TSAC quarterly, volunteering at state clinics, regional events, even volunteering at national level events, going to headquarters for some of the clinics they do there. They always need help with that kind of stuff. I mean, just doing anything and everything that you can to try to get involved, being the thorn in the side. I have a nickname at headquarters. It's Pitta, pain in the ass, because I'm constantly emailing Nick Clayton and Stacey Andrews and all the guys. I'm always emailing. What do you need? What can we do? How can we make this thing better? I'm just always on them and trying to do this because it is my organization. It's as members, like it's ours, and I want to embrace it and see it grow and see it develop. And I want to network and have the national conference have 10,000 people at it, and I want it to be massive. And I want it to be such a great event and experience for people, even more than it is now. Anything and everything that I can do to give back to the NSCA, I do it. And when people want to do that, it's an honorable thing. I think it's an awesome thing that people want to do that. But when you look at headquarters or the other regionals or any of the other coordinators that are organizing volunteers, they want to see someone that's going to be more than one email saying, "What can I do?" Right. They really want to see that you want it, that you want to be there, and you got to be that pain in the ass a little bit. Agreed. It pays itself.
Agreed. Well, you just gave lots of ways for people to get involved, and there's really not an excuse not to, and I think, again, for our organizations to take the next step, I think that's what it's got to come from within. And,
absolutely.
We've benefited from a lot of people like yourself that have spent the time and put in the efforts. And if everybody did that simultaneously, the sky's the limit as to what we can do. And so,
absolutely.
Well, hey, man, I know you're busy. I want to get you going here. We end the show with some resources. Give me the best piece of coaching advice you ever received.
Best piece of coaching advice. I had a mentor at Arden Hills who gave me that line, the part-time effort equals a part-time product. He really instilled in me that a part-time effort will only go so far, that you need to put in a full-time effort. And it's hard for students. It's hard for people working in other professions to see, how am I going to put forward this full-time effort when I'm in school or when I'm doing this other job. It's a mindset is what he's talking about. You need to be 100% committed into this. It's not that you have to hit 40 hours a week. Like, you need that full-time mindset to make this your career, not your job. And he had a pretty good talk with me. He's like, you're coaching and you're teaching and you're doing all this other stuff. You're not really doing this 100% well. When are you going to commit to this 100%? And as soon as I did that, numbers even took off even more. It doesn't mean you can't do that other stuff, but what's going to be your primary thing? What's your specialty going to be? That's the thing you got to give your full-time effort to. So I think that was an eye-opener for me. Probably the best advice I can give to people is, I use kind of a little analogy like speed dating. When you're in this industry, do I want to be a PE teacher? A couple 5 minutes we talk, nah, not so much. Do I want to be a personal trainer? No, that's not my thing. Oh, tactical training. Like, yeah, I'm into that, right? We want to go to dinner. We want to go to the movies. Like, I want to get into that one, right? And so you start getting everything you can. You find mentors, you find books, like you commit into that 100%. You got to date around a little bit and find what things you're into. And then once you do, commit, dive in. A full-time effort produces a full-time career. And that's probably the best advice I got.
No, that's fantastic. What about, I see some books on your bookshelf there. I know you're an avid reader. Give us a book, app, and website recommendation.
Other than your book?
Yeah, no, absolutely other than that.
I'm a little bit old school. Probably one of the better books that helped me as a personal trainer was the E-Myth, the contractor version.
Yeah.
That helped me a ton. Same mentor recommended that to me. And it helped me see the business side of what we do as more than just my passion. Like, we got to make a living doing this. So how am I going to do it well? And the E-Myth is a great book by itself, but the contractor version lets you see this as what's the consumer going to see, and how are they viewing me, and then how am I as a professional portraying that out, and then learning all the components of the business that come in. They dabble on a little bit of everything: marketing, referrals. They go through teach you all the basics of money, and take you through that whole thing. So I think that's a great one. One of my favorite books, totally changed my mind of how I would train a client, is The New Rules of Weightlifting with Alan Cosgrove and Lou Schuler. They've made 9 or 10 of them now, but the original one was still the one that made me look at the 7 basic components of fitness as far as movements go, and how to build just fantastic programming from that. Well-rounded clients who need to train every muscle group, every plane, every action, because you only see them twice a week or 3 times a week. So why break it down into leg day? So that really helped me a lot there. As far as apps go, I'm not terribly tech savvy as far as an app for my business, but I'd probably have to say I think the NSCA's new app. I don't think a whole lot of people have got to see it yet this year, but the new app they have up now that comes in with the conferences, and then it also hosts all the videos, the library logs, all that kind of stuff. We talked about the foundation of fitness a little bit before we got on here. Is a personal training model that Nick Clayton, Mark Nutting, Mike Martino, Nick Tuminello, there are a whole bunch of us that helped build this model. And in that model, it's 35 pages of how to program. From, you decide you have a client, how do you get through that bit of, we're into training a couple of weeks now. Right. It takes you through all that. But at the end, there's this big appendix of, if your client's pregnant, how do you train them? If they have general lower back pain, how do you train them? They want to run a 5K, how do you train them? They want to get bigger, how do you train them? There's this whole appendix like that. And then all these exercises listed and all these videos that go with it, all that's going to be on this app at some point. So the NSCA app's really up and coming. I know it's a gimme for me to tell you that one just because I'm in love with this organization and what we do. But it really is on the rise. It's going to be a really good product to use here.
I'll be honest with you, I don't think I've ever seen the NSCA app. I need to look at it myself.
Yeah, it's kind of it's a branch with a guidebook, and so when you go to a conference, it's the one you download on your phone, and it's got the schedule and all that. Well, inside of that, the other half of this is like if you look for your apps, just type in NSCA and it's going to come up. Okay. So it's available all year long. It's not just for the conferences now.
Wow, I didn't know that. No, I'm glad you mentioned that. Obviously, you'll mention the NSCA website, but is there another website besides that?
I'm a huge fan of the Cosgroves. I love the Cosgroves. ResultsFitnessUniversity.com. I go to one of their events every year. I've been going since 2006, 2007, somewhere around in there. Their mentor programs, though I haven't done their big one. I'm in their kind of their general mentorship groups. We come back every year and we have some kind of networking opportunity. One of their 2 or 3 day courses they do down at their gym in Southern California. Great business coaches, great program design coaches, their whole team, Mike Wunsch, Craig Rasmussen, the whole team they have there, they're fantastic. So any business stuff you need, and their area of expertise is semi-private, training small groups, 2 to 4, people at a time. They really help me, define my business and take it to that next level. So I'd say those are 2 very, very good resources to pursue there.
No, that's great, man. Well, buddy, you are a class act. I mean, not like I said. I mean, you're a great practitioner, but the fact that you're so open about your journey, your trials, your tribulations, and everything, I think that just speaks volumes about your character, the type of person you are, and the type of work that you do. And so I just appreciate you for who you are, man, and coming on the show and sharing. And
thank you, Coach. I really appreciate it.
Been a long time coming, but we finally got it done.
We got it. Yeah, I really appreciate it. And I appreciate everybody that follows this, the opportunities that we have to learn from you and everything you put out, and all putting us in contact with people that we would not normally get the opportunity to learn from. It's a real honor to be a part of it, but thank you for continuing to do this. You're a great man. Thank you.
That's it for this episode of Iron Game Chalk Talk. Thanks to this week's guest as well as our sponsors for bringing this episode to you for free. Make sure to check out ronmckeefery.com where you can join our mailing list, find the show notes, including all the links and resources mentioned, and information about Coach McKeefery's other products. While you are there, please join Coach McKeefery in the comments section thanking our guest for sharing. If you haven't subscribed to Iron Game Chalk Talk on YouTube or iTunes yet, make sure to do so. Comments, ratings, and reviews are always welcome. Coach McKeefery can be found on Twitter at @RMcKeefery, on Facebook and YouTube at /Ron.McKeefery. That's it for this week. Be sure to check back next week for another great episode of Iron Game Chalk Talk.